Hi, friend. We are on episode 2, diary entry 2. I don't know, still don't have a name. I do believe that by the time these are out in the world, it will have a name. But for now, I don't. I will take some time to meditate on that. It's the next day, though, and I noticed that my YouTube channel told me happy 3-year anniversary. So I thought we'd go down a little memory lane, little story lane. Some of you know that I did acting for about 12 years, but growing up, I've always loved stories. I grew up in a household that I was taught reading at the I wasn't taught necessarily how to read.
You don't know how to read?
I wasn't necessarily taught how to read at 2 or 3, but books were introduced to me at that very young age, which through the example of my mom reading to me, I'm sure helped me learn how to read much faster. I remember she would take me to the library and I needed to get the max number of books and we would read all of them. And specifically, Rumpelstiltskin was my favorite story. So I made sure that we checked out all the versions of that. So I've read every single version and then I found my favorite. And then that had to come home every single week. I don't know why. Obsessed with that one. And my mom would always do the voice of Rumpelstiltskin and it always made me laugh. So yeah, my reading journey through storytelling started pretty early. We were also a very big musical household. There was always music playing. I remember a lot of Chicago and Dallas Holmes being played, which is funny because they're both very far off the music spectrum of each other. And then my family loved movies. So I watched a lot of movies growing up. It wasn't until though I saw Lord of the Rings in the 8th grade, which I got by mistake from a friend's for Christmas. I had asked for Harry Potter and her mom didn't know the difference. And so I got Lord of the Rings and my mom was like, you can't return it. And I thought, what is this story about a guy with a ring? It looks so dumb. Needless to say, I was up till 3 a.m. Spoiler. When Gandalf dies in the Fellowship, or does he? And I was like, I'm hooked. And then I discovered the behind the scenes, and that sort of took me on my journey of, oh my God, I think movies is where I belong. I was still reading throughout high school, but then once I started to work, life became more complicated. So yeah, and then I moved to LA and pretty much becoming an actor took over my life. But after my dad passed, my brain altered, everything changed, sort of where I wanted to be in life, how I wanted to see the world, all that shifted. I took this break and I was playing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. I was painting D&D minis, which was a lot of fun, and just kind of letting myself sit in sort of this creative bubble. And I realized that I had just finished reading the Magicians trilogy during COVID. And I was like, I really miss reading. So I kind of started to delve into that community online. And I was like, I think this is something that I want to do. I didn't realize there's a whole Bookstagram community or BookTube. People are just talking about the books they love. And I have met some of my closest friends. Yes, they're on the internet. I met my friend Becca. She came to LA when I was living there, which was a lot of fun to meet her in person. This other girl, Paige, we have become best friends, I think, since when I joined Bookstagram early 2021, because I started reading ACOTAR and we started talking, and she's now one of my best friends ever. So, and I still have such a beautiful community on there. When my friend Georgia, her first book she's written, it got picked up by a publisher and I'm so excited for her. It's called The Friendship Fling. It comes out June 3rd. It is such a gorgeous book. I mean, even if you're not a fan of romance, it feels like women's lit to me. It gives me a lot of Emily Henry vibes. So I'm so proud of her, and we've built this beautiful friendship. I have a lot of other friends on there, and I've done buddy reads, and it's just become my safe space. And I was just thinking about that last night and this morning and how grateful I am that I joined this corner of the internet, and it's the friendships I've made, and it's just made me so happy. Even though they're all over the world, I still feel like a kinship. My friend Amy, she's from the UK, she got a book for an ARC, and I was like, that sounds so cool. And I just was doing like a Gothic lit class. She's like, oh, do you want me to mail it to you? And I was like, you don't have to do that. And she did. Total sweetheart. Sent me some UK candies. It was really sweet. So very thankful for that. And then my channel has gone through a lot of ups and downs, different turns and waves. And I think it was a mix of me like finding myself doing stuff out of joy, but then also trying to like, what does the algorithm want? What do people want? And so right now I'm really trying to live in that boat of
what does Allie want?
David is here. We are on a walk again. Yes. What does Allie want to do? What is it I want to share with you guys? How do I want that to be represented? I realize that might have been very mangled. We just walked past someone who's listening to music very loudly. But just really trying to figure out what it is I want to do, what do I want to create, how do I want to share that. It's interesting because I feel like while I was acting for 12 years, I was doing so much of what I was told to do. And then with like my book channel, I feel like that was happening too. And so now I really like want to, are we turning back? Now I really want to focus in on how do I do what I want to do consistently, you know, and show up authentically and vulnerably. And I was listening back to the podcast I recorded yesterday. Sorry, there's creatures in the canal. Is that a turtle?
That's a fish.
That's a fish?
Yeah.
He made such a splash.
Fish make splashes.
They do.
They're in water.
Focus. I think I was talking about...
You're listening to your episode yesterday.
Yeah, I was listening to my episode yesterday and I was like, this is so vulnerable. Like, it feels so vulnerable and so much is being put out there and it's scary. But again, going back to my metaphor I used, like, sorry guys, I'm a Swiftie. And the whole reason why I'm a Swiftie is because Taylor writes some of the most rawest, vulnerable, most scary lyrics. And even though they're very specific and unique to her, before I met David, I connected to so many of those heartbreak songs. And I'm like, oh my God, I've never heard a singer that could write the things that I didn't know how to explain or put into words. And she did that all by basically sharing her diaries with us. And that's probably a very scary, vulnerable thing to do, especially because throughout media, they have constantly given her shit for it. Same reason why I love Ed Sheeran. He writes the same exact way. So even with his like fun poppy songs, it's still like from a place of authenticity and like vulnerability. Like he has a new single that just came out, Ozzy's, which he said is inspired. He had a Persian producer, and he wanted to encapsulate a song that matched their culture and about like, how do you tell someone that like you love them and you've sort of just like, or like you're kind of falling for them like the first time you've met them? Because the song, he's like, meet me on the dance floor tonight. You know, he has a similar song that, what's it called? The Shape of You. He has a lot of the songs, which I kind of love because when you're like young and in your 20s, you sort of like meet people and you're like, you see them across the floor and you're just like, I'm so hooked on you and I don't know why. And I feel like, especially for Ed traveling the road, that was something he experienced a lot. And it's just like, it's living in the moment. So anyways, the point I'm trying to make is it's scary to be vulnerable, but I feel like it's so important because you're also sharing then the human experience, which is the point of artistry. I mean, we could also look at Casey Neistat, for example. He shares so much, well, he used to share so much of his life in his daily vlogs. And people could be like, oh, but it's just a vlog. And it's like, yeah, but it's still a video diary. It's what he did from the moment he woke up to when he went to bed. Like, yes, it was to promote his business, but he still shared, I feel like, more about him than his business. I feel like I learned more about him than whatever his business was. So those tend to be the things that we truly gravitate towards and enjoy. So yeah, that I know for sure that doing this podcast, it feels right. It still feels very messy and don't have a title for it, trying to figure it out. But as I was listening back to it, I really enjoyed that you guys are like getting the outside sounds of nature. And it feels like...
Look at that squirrel. Right behind the tree.
Oh, I saw the ducks over here. So I was like, ducks, squirrel, look at this guy. Are they trying to find a way out? Oh, he tripped. We saw that, bro.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, I feel like there's definitely a friend here and you can hear all the nature sounds. hear me getting distracted by the ducks and the squirrels and the fish and all the different little freshwater creatures. It feels right. I have ideas of pulling out a camera. I'm just baby steps towards that. We'll get to that point soon. I need to sort of find my comfortability with that again. And it's also a lot of steps that go in to filming a video, even if you're just sitting there talking. And that is always a barrier for people neurodivergent. Like, I saw this video the other day on Instagram, and it's so true. He was talking about how much of a barrier a shower is. And I know that sounds gross, but like neurodivergent people, it is a struggle to do normal daily tasks. And I heard this other girl saying how like people call those habits, but for us, it's really a task. We would put like the mental energy into like doing all the steps. So I'm getting excited about the video ideas, but also trying to process what those steps are. How do I simplify it? How do I make it fun and create what I want to create? So all baby steps. I think today is going to be a little shorter. I wasn't expecting to record today, but kind of just want to talk about sort of my 3-year anniversary on my channel, where it's gone, what it is now. And I'm proud of a lot of the videos I made and the ups and downs I went through, and still kind of in that journey of figuring it out. But at the end of the day, making sure to return to me and what brings me joy to create, and just building that consistency. So I will see you in the next one, friend.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.